GM guys, FMOS and JUNO went down in price significantly. Especially JUNO suffered a lot, because JUNO is more than 90% down below its old all-time high. And critics claim that this is because they are very inflationary. So, inflationary tokens are a nice to have in a bull market, but a worst case scenario to hold in a bear market. So, today we will have a closer look at these inflationary tokens. So, in today's episode we will make a deep dive into JUNO's and FMOS's tokenomics. Moreover, this is about to become a regular format. In this format we will look at different tokenomics of different cryptocurrencies in the interchain. This new format's name is Masterclass. So, make sure to watch this video to the very end if you want to learn more about JUNO's and FMOS's tokenomics and whether it makes sense to hold these kinds of tokens during a bear market.
3, 2, 1.
Here we go!
Before kickstarting this episode, two very important things to mention here. First of all, of course, I'm not a financial advisor, I'm just a German guy on the internet who loves to talk about the interchain. And besides, in case you didn't get the message, we at DeFi Times rebranded to FRENS VALIDATOR. FRENS VALIDATOR existed before, but now we merged the YouTube channel with FRENS VALIDATOR, so from now on, this YouTube channel is also called FRENS VALIDATOR, and DeFi Times is buried. But now let us have a closer look at FMOS and at JUNO. Before we really dive deeper into the tokenomics, let us compare these two layer 1s with each other. Let us start by talking about FMOS. FMOS is in fact the very first EVM chain that enabled IBC, so it's possible for Solidity and EVM developers to deploy their smart contracts on top of FMOS. And due to IBC, these applications will also have exposure to the rest of the interchain. In case you don't know, IBC is a communication standard that allows blockchains to communicate with each other. So this is very cool, also for you, because you could, for example, bridge your assets seamlessly from FMOS to Cosmos to Osmosis, etc. And also you get exposure to the whole liquidity of Ethereum. So FMOS is kind of revolutionary in that sense. What's important to know though is that FMOS was formerly known as Ethermint. However, the project's vision changed, which is why Ethermint rebranded to FMOS in 2021. The initial idea was to bring the Tendermint consensus protocol to Ethereum to make Ethereum more scalable. What's also important to know is that FMOS will enable shared security at some point. That said, projects will be able to launch their own customized blockchains by leveraging the security of FMOS. What's also interesting to know is that the first launch of FMOS was a big fail. The project was not able to launch. However, nowadays FMOS is up and running again, and besides, FMOS enabled staking rewards very recently. JUNO on the other hand is a generic layer 1 smart contract platform built with the Cosmos SDK. It is also IBC enabled, so all projects that launch on JUNO have exposure to the rest of the interchain. And JUNO is also secured with the Tendermint consensus algorithm. Another crucial aspect of JUNO is that JUNO provides permissionless CosmWasm. CosmWasm is a module that developers can plug into the Cosmos SDK so that your blockchain is able to support smart contracts. And the amazing thing is that CosmWasm on JUNO is completely permissionless. So you do not have to ask anybody for permission before deploying your smart contract on top of JUNO. So this could be a reason why we could see a flourishing DeFi ecosystem on top of JUNO. And besides, CosmWasm is ideal for Rust developers. Rust developers will find it very easy to deploy smart contracts on top of JUNO. With the project's approaches in mind, let us talk a little bit about their tokens and their tokens' utilities. JUNO's native cryptocurrency is called JUNO, and FMOS's native cryptocurrency is called FMOS. Let us start by diving deeper into the utilities of the FMOS token. The FMOS token is primarily used to pay fees in the network. And besides, you can use FMOS to stake. When staking FMOS, you secure the chain and get rewarded for it. You can delegate your FMOS funds to a validator and then earn daily rewards for it. Besides, FMOS is used for governance. It is actually the very first token that drives outcomes on an EVM. It determines future economic outcomes for three main participators: the developers, the validators, and the users. And besides, and of course, you can also use FMOS in DeFi, for example, for liquidity providing, lending, borrowing, etc. JUNO in fact works very similar. So you can stake JUNO in order to secure the chain and get rewarded for it. You can use JUNO in DeFi to collateralize a loan or to provide liquidity. You can pay with JUNO for network fees. And of course you can use JUNO when voting on governance proposals. JUNO is basically your power token to participate in every area of the JUNO ecosystem. Let us now talk a little bit about the distribution at Genesis. So first of all, what is Genesis? Genesis basically marks the birthday of every blockchain. The question now is, what happened with all the tokens right after the blockchain launched? How many tokens were in circulation and how were these tokens distributed? Let us find out more about how the EVMOS tokens were distributed right after Genesis. The initial supply of EVMOS was 200 million, so 200 million EVMOS tokens were distributed in the beginning, and 50% of these 200 million EVMOS tokens were handed out to people who were eligible for the EVMOS airdrop, so 100 million tokens were handed out to people who were eligible for the EVMOS token. Besides, 40% were handed out to the strategic treasury. The strategic treasury is a treasury that aims to fund different initiatives and developments in the EVMOS ecosystem that are crucial for the blockchain. And besides, 10% went into the community pool to fund different community activities. And also JUNO did an airdrop, of course. JUNO did a stake drop, a so-called fair drop. For every staked atom, you were eligible to claim 1 JUNO. So for example, if you staked 10 atoms, you were able to claim 10 JUNO. In total, more than 30 million JUNOs were airdropped to the community, which was absolutely massive. But now let us have a look at how the other tokens got distributed. The other 20 million JUNOs went into the community pool. More than 10 million JUNOs are there for core developments, and these 10 million JUNOs are vested for 12 years, so it's not possible to dump these 10 million JUNOs all at once. That is not possible. Then another 2.373 million JUNOs are there for JUNO hacks, and then, and I think this is also very interesting to see, 2.74% of the initial supply went to the Core 1 team, and again also these tokens are vested for 12 years, so it's not possible for the Core 1 team to dump all their JUNO tokens at once. They are vested for 12 years and get released year by year by year by year. So, but now let us have a look at how the rest of the token supply will be distributed. Let us start with EVMOS. After 4 years, all the EVMOS tokens will be distributed, so there will be a total supply of 1 billion EVMOS tokens, and the total supply will be on the market after 4 years. And in the beginning, the EVMOS tokens will be highly inflationary. I mentioned it in the beginning, EVMOS is very inflationary at this point. So in the very first year, 300 million EVMOS tokens will be issued. So in 2022, we will see 300 million EVMOS tokens entering the market in addition to the 200 million EVMOS tokens that are already on the market. And as of now, EVMOS has an inflation of over 146%, as you can see here. The source is Minscan. And also the staking APR is absolutely crazy. As of now, EVMOS has a staking APR of 973%, which is absolutely crazy because you basically get almost 10 times of the amount that you staked. In case you don't know how basically the staking APR basically comes to reality, it's a combination out of inflation and the amount of the bonded token. So the bonded ratio and the inflation together in combination, they basically lead to the staking APR. I think this is also very important to know here. So again, the very first year of EVMOS is a year full of inflation. The inflation rate will be above 146%, which is absolutely crazy if you ask me. But then after year 1, the inflation rate decreases significantly, and this will be the case for years until year 4, because in year 4 the total supply of 1 billion EVMOS tokens will be reached. So we kind of see a deflationary effect on EVMOS. And then after year 4, so after the total supply is reached, the project wants to encourage the community to find another way to inflate EVMOS and issue more EVMOS, because the community, no, not the community, but the project, mentioned very, very clearly that they think that EVMOS should not have a total supply cap. So this is why we will see more information coming out after the 4th year, when the community has to find a new way to issue more EVMOS tokens. And after the 4th year, the distribution will look as follows. As you can see, the share of the airdrop decreased significantly to 8% to be precise. Then the other EVMOS tokens will be distributed to staking rewards, so to everybody who uses or who stakes EVMOS, better said. Then 20% are being used to incentivize the usage of the EVMOS blockchain, so for example with higher LP rewards. Then 20% will go to the team in order to hire new team members. Another 10% will go into the strategic fund. So also here it will be like very interesting to see how this money will be used in order to fund new developments and fund new projects on top of EVMOS. And then this stays the same. The community pool stays at 10% after these 4 years. To wrap things up, EVMOS is a token that is very inflationary in the early days, but then the inflation rate will decrease and so will the staking APRs. So right now it's very attractive to stake EVMOS, but also EVMOS is very inflationary, but the inflation rate will drop year by year until the 4th year, when the total supply of 1 billion EVMOS is reached. And after this happened, then the community has to decide how to inflate EVMOS in the future. And now let us have a closer look at JUNO. So the current supply of JUNO is 80 million, so there are 80 million JUNOs in the market, and the supply will increase to more than 119 million JUNOs after 3 years. And I really like that the inflation of JUNO will be halved. So after 3 years, the inflation will be halved 3 times. The first time will be 40%, and in the second year there will be a halving of 20%, so then the inflation rate will be only 20%, and then in the last year the inflation rate will be at 10%. However, after these 3 years have passed, the inflation will continue to decrease annually by 1%, as you can see here, so that the rate decreases by 1% year by year. So 9% here, then 8%, 7%, 6%, 5%, and so on and so forth. And finally, in 2033, the supply of JUNO will be 185 million. And the current staking rewards are also very insane on JUNO. We have an APR of 105%. Of course, if you stake with friends and activate the auto compound bot, your APR is even higher, because you fully take advantage of the compound effect, because you do not waste any time to restake. Our bot basically restakes your JUNOs automatically. And again, the inflation rate right now is at 40%, which is why the APR is so high. But after the inflation rate decreases in the next year, also the APR will decrease significantly. Now let us talk a little bit about another aspect that is very crucial. It is decentralization. So how decentralized is JUNO and how decentralized is EVMOS? As you can see here, EVMOS as of now is very centralized. I mean, not very centralized, but kind of centralized, because the first 5 validators out of the 150 validators, they have a lot of voting power. So the first 5 validators have almost 40% in voting power, which is pretty big, because if the 5 top validators have as much voting power, or almost as much voting power as the rest of the 145, then you could argue that the EVMOS tokens are not fairly distributed. So on place 1 is Orbital Apes, then there is Percy, and then there's us, FRENS VALIDATOR. Thanks for bringing us up here. But then there's Cosmos Station, and then there's Citadel 1. And because decentralization is kind of a very crucial aspect for every blockchain, we also decided to redelegate some of our funds to other validators, as you can see here. We announced it yesterday, and if you know any other validators we should delegate our funds to, then please let us know, comment in the comment section below, and we will do it. JUNO is, I would say, a little bit less centralized in that sense, so the voting power is not that highly centralized still. JUNO just has 135 validators, and the top 10 validators have around 40% of the voting power. And as you can see here, the first validator has almost 9% of the voting power, which is Cosmos Station. So it also has problems regarding decentralization, but I think that this will be a process over time, so more and more people will redelegate year by year by year, and then I think both networks will be fully decentralized. To wrap things up, both tokens are at this stage very inflationary. And now the question is it a good idea to hold them during a bear market? Because I mentioned it, and you can see the tweet here. The critics claim that a high inflationary token is not good to hold in a bear market, and I totally understand the argument here, because yeah, EVMOS and JUNO are free falling because the inflation is so high. So why should I hold this token? So my strategy at the moment is as follows. For EVMOS at least, I continue to stake my EVMOS, but I sell all my staking rewards, because as of now, the macroeconomic conditions are so uncertain that I want to build up a cash position. And I think that at this high inflation rate, that we can also see that JUNO or EVMOS can go down further. So this is definitely a possibility at this stage. But JUNO went down so significantly in price, more than 90%, so I do not sell my staking rewards here, I just continue to restake. I think this makes sense. But EVMOS is in a very extraordinary situation, which is why I sell my staking rewards right now, but also with the idea in mind to have more cash to buy more EVMOS after EVMOS dumped a little bit, because before the dump, EVMOS also pumped pretty significantly recently, and yes, the inflation at this stage is just too high. But I think I would have a very different opinion if we would not have this macroeconomic situation that we experience right now. There's a lot of uncertainty, so yeah, safety first. I'm stacking up my cash position a little bit, and then I will see from there. Thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you learned a lot. I hope you got a better understanding of the tokenomics of EVMOS and JUNO. Please let us know if we should do more videos like this, and of course subscribe to this YouTube channel and give this video a like. This triggers the YouTube algorithm and leads to an atom pump on the other hand. And with that being said, guys, I hope I see you on Friday for another interview, for another big panel with Dean Tribble from Agoric, with Siddharth Patil from Comdex, and of course with Henrik Sørensen from eMoney. Until then, guys, and see you on Friday.
There's a difference in, like, people were saying, like, this is one of the biggest financial scams of all times. I think there's a difference if somebody comes over and tries to actively rug you. Or here, we were all also aware of the risk. As you said, Sunny was also talking about this, and we believed in this. We saw an upside in this, and then it failed. I think there's a difference in actively somebody trying to do malicious acting, and here something failed.